Hallo og velkommen til webinar om Storbritannia. Hvis dere har noen problemer med lyden, så får dere skrive til meg i chatten underveis. Jeg heter Camilla, og jeg jobber her i Studier outside Norway, eller SONOR som vi kaller det. Og vi skal i dag snakke om studier i Storbritannia. Aller først vil jeg gå litt igjennom hva SONOR er, og hvordan vi kan hjelpe det som skal søke studier i utlandet. Jeg vil også gå litt igjennom ofte stilte spørsmål som vi får, og deretter skal dere få høre fra universitetene våre. I dag har vi med oss 3 britiske universitet. Vi har med oss, de skal få presentere seg selv etterpå, men vi har i hvert fall med oss Leeds Beckett University, University of Bristol og University of Glasgow. Så helt til slutt vil vi ha en spørsmålsrunde, og da kan dere sende spørsmål til meg i chatboksen. Det er ingen som ser hva du skriver, så det er bare å skrive direkte til meg. Du kan skrive på norsk eller engelsk, det spiller ingen rolle. SONOR er da en organisasjon som hjelper norske elever å søke studier i utlandet. Vi er 5 veiledere med erfaring fra forskjellige land, og vi har nå kontor i Trondheim og Oslo. SONOR har da samarbeid med over 60 universitet i 5 engelskspråklige land: USA, Storbritannia, Singapore, Australia og New Zealand. Og i tillegg så har vi medisin- og tannlegestudier i EU. Og vi hjelper dem med å finne universitet basert på dine ønsker og din bakgrunn. Og all hjelp du får av oss er jo helt gratis og uforpliktende. Så du kan søke og bestemme deg for å takke nei til plassen. Og det går helt fint. Og vi kan hjelpe deg med alt du måtte lure på gjennom hele søknadsprosessen. Du vil få din egen veileder som du kan snakke med på e-post eller telefon. Vanligvis kan du også komme innom kontoret vårt, men akkurat nå så er det litt vanskelig. Vi kjenner jo til alle søknadsprosessene til de ulike universitetene, og vi vet hvilke dokument du trenger for de ulike studiene. Og vi vet også de ulike opptakskravene ved universitetene, for det kan variere veldig fra et universitet i USA til et universitet i Australia, for eksempel. Vi hjelper deg også med å søke på stipend og finne ut av det økonomiske, som lånekassa, for det kan jo være litt vanskelig å sette seg inn i når det er første gangen du skal gjøre det. I tillegg så hjelper vi deg med litt av det praktiske, som å finne bolig og søke visum. Nå må du jo ha visum til også Storbritannia fra neste år, og vi skal hjelpe deg med å søke på det også. Så litt om Storbritannia. Når du skal søke studier i Storbritannia, så er det et par ting du bør huske på. Vi skal ikke gå så veldig i detalj om det, for vi har hatt allerede webinar om blant annet UCAS og motivasjonsbrev, som kanskje flere av dere har vært med på. Men i hvert fall, så hvis du skal søke, så er 15. januar anbefalt søknadsfrist, men du kan søke etter det her hvis du er norsk statsborger. Hvis du er britisk statsborger eller EU-borger, så vil 15. januar være endelig søknadsfrist da. Men er du norsk statsborger, så kan du søke helt frem til juni. Men siden universitetene i Storbritannia har rullerende opptak, så betyr det egentlig at hvis du venter veldig lenge med å søke, så kan studiet du er interessert i være fylt opp allerede. UCAS, som jeg nevnte, det er jo da søknadssystemet i Storbritannia, slik som samordnet opptak her i Norge. Vi har som sagt webinar, og vi har en videoguide, og vi har en vanlig steg-for-steg-guide som vi kan sende dere hvis du vil ha hjelp til å fylle ut søknaden din. Og det samme går for motivasjonsbrev og anbefalingsbrev. I tillegg så burde du snakke med veilederen din, for vi gir det tilbakemelding på det du har skrevet, og kan gi deg gode tips til hva du kan endre på. Så vil absolutt anbefale å sende det til veilederen din, og du kan også sende motivasjonsbrevet ditt til for eksempel venner da, som også kan lese over for det. Hvis du ser på hjemmesiden vår, så kan du lese om andre studenter sin erfaring i utlandet. Og det kan være veldig nyttig hvis du er litt usikker på blant annet hvilket land du vil til, eller hvilket universitet du vil starte på, eller hvis du bare trenger litt inspirasjon. Det er også mulig å kontakte de tidligere studentene og stille deg spørsmål. En annen ting vi i SONOR gjør, det er at vi kan sette studenter som skal til samme studiested i kontakt, og hvis det er noe dere ønsker da, så klart. Og det kan jo være veldig fint å kjenne noen på studiestedet når du reiser, og alt er helt nytt. Så vil jeg gå litt gjennom ofte stilte spørsmål. Det er jo noe som veldig mange lurer på. Lånekassen, den støtter i hvert fall alle universitet som vi har samarbeid med, og du får støtte til både skolepenger og elevkostnader. Det er ikke så viktig om du ikke finner universitetet ditt akkurat på lista til lånekassa, fordi mest sannsynlig så vil du få støtte likevel, men hvis du er usikker, så bare snakk med oss. Og prisen for studiet ditt, altså skolepengene og hva du på en måte trenger til levekostnader, det vil jo variere veldig ut ifra både lengden på graden din og hvilken grad du tar og universitet du går på. Det er jo for eksempel masse dyrere å studere i en storby enn på et litt mindre sted, og det er jo noe som kan gjøre en stor forskjell når du skal være der i kanskje 3-4 år. Du trenger 4 eller bedre i engelsk fra videregående for å slippe å ta språktest. Hvis du har for eksempel 3 engelsk fra videregående, så kan du fortsatt studere i utlandet, men som regel må du ta en språktest da. Og vi kan hjelpe deg med informasjon om deg, fordi det er veldig mange ulike tester. Noen koster kanskje $50, mens andre koster $200. Så ja, snakk med oss om det. Det samme med søknadsfristene. Nå nevnte jeg jo 15. januar i Storbritannia, men og siden dere er på webinaret om Storbritannia, så er dere kanskje det dere er interessert i. Men hvis du er interessert i andre land også, så varierer det veldig, og på noen studier så kan jo fristen være et helt år før du skal starte, som for eksempel på medisin. Så det er lurt å finne ut av det tidlig. Og så, ja, sist fra meg er jo om koronasituasjonen. Per dags dato så er det mulig å reise til Storbritannia, Singapore, USA og EU-landene. Du vil få studentvisum der du trenger det. Men grensene til Australia og New Zealand er stengt, så du kan ikke reise dit akkurat nå. Men det er mulig å enten utsette studiestarten din, eller så kan du starte studiene dine online, og så reise til Australia når grensene åpner, som forhåpentligvis blir snart da. Så det var alt fra meg. Nå skal dere få høre litt fra universitetene. Og så tenkte jeg å si at hvis dere har spørsmål som dere kommer på underveis, så er det bare å skrive det i chatten. Dere trenger ikke vente helt til slutt, altså. Så kan jeg se hva dere lurer på. So, oops, that was all from me. Now you're going to hear from Leeds Beckett University, and we have Aaron with us.
Hi everyone, I will try to share my screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Aaron Taylor and I am the International Development Officer for North America and Europe at Leeds Beckett University. I should say hi, sorry, but that's about the extent of my Norwegian, so I'll stop there. This is a lovely picture of me when it was back in summer and nice and sunny. It's a little bit different now, but this is just to kind of let you know, just these are my contact details down at the bottom. If you ever need to get in touch with me at all, and if you ever want to ask any questions at all, I am the regional representative for Norway. So any sort of questions, then feel free to direct those over to myself. So I thought I'd start off with a sort of an introduction to the UK and then delve a little bit more into Leeds Beckett in a couple more slides, and then focus a little bit finally and thirdly on a little bit more about the student experience. So if you know a little bit about the UK already, great. Hopefully you do. If you're interested, obviously you're interested because you're attending this webinar. But I guess just to kind of recap a couple of the unique selling points for the UK, and a couple of those are some of the things that I've listed in the presentation here. So, for example, definitely one of the top things is the reputation of UK universities and the degrees that you will achieve and graduate with when you complete your program. I was checking the rankings, and we have 3 UK universities in the world top 10 universities all around the world. So obviously there's a great sort of global recognition of degrees from the UK. So that's definitely one bonus. I think secondly the style of teaching is quite unique. So it's really sort of it's quite sort of independent learning, and from your professors, they'll encourage you to get involved in debates, discussions, in lectures and seminars. You're kind of encouraged to develop your own ideas and develop your own way of thinking. You know exactly how you like to learn. So that's kind of the style. It's everyone receives their own sort of same level of support, but it's kind of up to you to direct yourself into and sort of decide what sort of direction that you want to go in. So you can, no matter whether you're studying a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, you can take it into any direction that you would like to, and everyone receives their own personal tutor as like a supervisor as well. So you're never left on your own, and everyone certainly does have a good level of support. And next, one thing I wanted to touch on was just the sort of multicultural environment and the diversity around UK and across all the different types of cities in the UK too. I think that's something that we hopefully we still come across as quite a welcoming and friendly country. And I think just the diversity of the number of nationalities that are around cities in the UK does demonstrate that as well. And then just finally, what I was going to finish on was, I guess that's kind of linked to the reputation of UK degrees, as well as some really good sort of employment prospects when you do graduate with a UK degree. It's internationally recognised. There's a chance for you to stay in the UK afterwards and get a job in the UK as well. And some of the programmes that we offer do include placements as well, which is like a work experience sort of on the side of your programme. So just a little bit more about Leeds. Hopefully you have heard of Leeds before. Don't worry too much if not. Hopefully now that Leeds does have a Premier League football team, then hopefully we're a little bit more recognised now. But Leeds is a great city. I'm going to be a bit biased because I study there and I live there at the moment. I'm from Liverpool originally, but I vacated Liverpool and moved over to Leeds because I heard such wonders about Leeds as a student city. And it's actually located in the north of England, so just above, kind of in between, just along the way from Manchester and just up the road from Sheffield as well. So the county that Leeds is based in is called Yorkshire, and this is a really sort of nice. It's at Leeds. I think it's one of the biggest cities in the UK, but also it's kind of quite a small city centre and quite compact. And literally within 10 or 15 minutes drive, you can go out to some of the most beautiful countryside. And I've got a couple of pictures of the sort of countryside later. But the city itself, so like I said, you get a really good mix of the two there. But the city itself, it's known for being quite a big student city. So there's around 70,000 students in the city at one time. And that's purely down to the fact that there are 5 different universities in the city that offer all different types of courses. So that's one of the main reasons why we have an international airport that's just located around, again, just around 10-15 minutes drive just outside the city centre. So it's really well connected to the rest of the UK and Europe. We have over 100 different nationalities, again, largely to the fact that we have so many universities in the city. And I think the UK colleagues on the call might be able to support me in saying that it's definitely known for being quite a friendly and welcoming place, Yorkshire. You definitely get called love and darling and mate quite a lot, but those are just quite sort of affectionate terms or quite friendly terms that you get to know if you do end up coming to live in Leeds. And everyone says hi all the time, no matter if they're your friends or they're not. So it's a really, really nice place to be. It's definitely it's a growing city. There's a lot of investment, whether that's in the real estate of the city or even just the sort of the cultural aspects. Because it's kind of, Leeds is kind of known for its shopping as well. So a lot of people will come from around the UK to come to Leeds over a weekend. So you'll notice that the weekend is definitely quite busy, and some of the architecture and some of the shops within these arcades, for example, which is this one on the right here, are a really, really nice sight to see. And it's a really good variety of, like I say, this countryside that's not too far away, and you get that sort of city vibe as well, which is just an example of Leeds Dock, which is on the image on the top left there. And then loosely kind of trying to link it into the university. So we actually have 2 campuses for our university, and we have one that's based right in the middle of the city centre, which is great, and the majority of the programs are there. And then we have one that's around, I'd say, around a 10-minute drive just outside the city centre, and there's some really, really good bus and train links to this campus as well. So it doesn't take long at all. A lot of people cycle or walk, to be honest. It's really sort of easy to get around the city. So the Headingley campus, it's a little bit greener. It's where the sports facilities are based. We've got this brand new sports research building that's just being built. It's on the top right there. I think that was around £30 million, and I think so that's just been completed. That's got a running track on the roof, which we're really, really proud of that. We can't wait to get back in there once sort of restrictions are lifted and things like that. So I'm really excited to get into there. And that campus, as I say, it has the education programs. It has majority of the sports programs are based up there as well, and there are libraries on both the campuses, so you can use whichever campus that you would prefer to, but it just depends which program that you don't go for, and where you're going to be taught. So the city campus has a few more business courses, so that's a business school on the bottom left there. We have the performing arts building, which is still being built, but that's due for completion at the end of, more towards September next year. I think that's a £90 million investment, that's going to be a really, really good building. We offer some more performing arts based courses. So there's dance, there's filmmaking is going to be built based in there. It's got theatre, all kind of things. So really excited about that too. Hopefully I've just given you a kind of a brief indication of what courses are available at the university, but we have over, I think it's over 150 postgrad programs and over, I think it's 190 undergrad programs, so quite a few, but we've tried to condense them into this list here. And the ones in bold are the ones that Norwegian students tend to ask a lot more questions about. And this is just based on history as well. So we have a lot of the Norwegian applicants have applied for these types of programs in the past. So just having a quick look there, it's more your social sciences. We have really good dietetics and nutrition programs. The art, architecture and design school is amazing as well. And the style of teaching is very much more practical based. So we don't focus so much on research. There's definitely quite a lot more. We use the word vocational, which just means that it's definitely more practical minded. So that's why we offer these practical based courses. So if you are studying like your arts and sports and things like that as well, then you do get a lot of practical hours. So if that's the style of teaching that you do like, then we're really strong in that area. I thought I'd quickly just look at the annual cost, because this is kind of one of our good sort of selling points as well. So being based in the north of England, I think it offers that sort of competitive edge in the living costs. So you might notice towards the north of England, this tends to be a little bit cheaper to live for rent and food and drink and that kind of thing as well. And our tuition fees are very competitive as well. So they're some of the lowest that you will find. So undergrad courses are 13,000 for each year. The undergrad programs are 3 years. Most postgrad programs are 1 year, and that's 14,000 as well for the 1 year. Foundation is if you don't quite make the English requirements or the entry requirements, then we can take a look at that. And PhD, if you're feeling really studious and you want to challenge yourself and go down the research route, then obviously we offer those courses as well. I just thought it might be good to sort of give you a brief comparison of what the prices are around the UK, and sort of UKVI is the sort of government program where this is their recommendations and what we look for in a student's sort of financial records, just to make sure that they can help support themselves while they're over here in the UK. So that's the first column there. So as you can see, it's just over around about £1,000 per month, and that includes all your accommodation and your other monthly costs as well. Take London, for example. This is the centre of London. I was doing a bit of research, and a lot of the sort of statistics were pointing more towards kind of a minimum £3,000 per month. So you're talking almost around definitely double, if not triple, the amount of the costs that would be if you go a bit further down towards south. I'm sure if you've done your research already, you might know that, but just thought it's kind of worth just hopefully opening up the picture towards the north of England as well, and not just focusing on the south. But this is another kind of a good thing I wanted to cover as well. So based on the tuition fees, we actually offer some scholarships for international students, so the students that pay the international fees. For bachelor's programs, it's £1,000 per year, and then for postgrad programs, it's up to £4,000 for the first year. Like I say, most postgrad programs are 1 year, but some of them are 2 years. So just for the first year there. If you study a bachelor's and an undergrad and a postgrad, then you qualify for a 10% alumni discount as well. I thought it might be nice just to reflect on where some of the Norwegian students came from this September. So we had a couple from the big cities like Edinburgh and Oslo, Lillestrøm, but we also had some really interesting sorts of origins from Mo i Rana. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I just thought it was nice to sort of expand my knowledge of Norwegian geography, and there's a place further up north, more towards Tromsø, which is Harstad as well. So a real mix of the students that we got this year, and I just thought it's nice to just kind of paint the picture of no matter which sort of area that you are from, whether it's the larger cities or the smaller cities. I think Leeds Beckett obviously appeals to quite a lot of the students, no matter which sort of background that you are from. And then I think what something that we sort of I'm obviously going to say this, but I feel personally that we excel in, and that's something that I'm quite involved in, is the support that we give to our international students when they arrive either on campus, or this year it was kind of on an online version of arriving to the UK. So we have student engagement officers, and we have a huge international team that I'm part of, and we like to make sure that you join in the kind of, sounds quite cheesy, but the Leeds Beckett family, and you get really involved in all of the events and the things that we have organised across the whole year. So within your first week, we organise, this year we had 2 weeks worth of an international welcome week. I'll touch on that briefly on the next slide. We have an international student society. We have so many social events throughout the year. Living in Leeds Beckett halls was also a really good place to meet brand new people, and that's not necessarily just UK students either. You can live with different nationalities too. You can become a student ambassador if you're interested in sort of meeting new people, and that's definitely one of the big things where a lot of people meet friends that they sort of stay friendly with for the rest of their time at Leeds Beckett. You can join fitness classes at both of the gyms, which is it works out to something like £10 per month for the gym membership, which is really, really good. You can learn a language in your own free time. And something that we tried this year was a Norwegian WhatsApp group. I don't know whether to take this as a compliment or an offence to it, but we set one up and they automatically just exchange Snapchat details, and then I haven't heard from them since. So I think it worked, but for putting them in touch with the rest of them. But that's kind of the idea that I'm trying to get across, is we do try to make sure that you meet on as many different people as possible, and we'll, like I say, it's kind of my job to help put you in touch with the rest of the Norwegian students that are starting in whichever particular year it is, and we'll definitely keep you in touch with everyone. So I mentioned before just quickly about the International Welcome Week that our student engagement officers and the whole international team have been organising. So we actually have two semester start dates. So we have one starting in September and then one in January. Bachelor's programs tend to start in September, and then if you're interested in master's programs, we do a couple of January options. So we're doing one of those again in January for the January starters, but we had a huge one in September for the cohorts and the semester just gone. As I say, that was spread across 2 weeks. We actually offer free quarantine accommodation for the students that were arriving from countries where they had to do that for self-isolate for 14 days, and that was in student halls. We would arrange for online groceries to be delivered to them, help them with like UK SIM cards so they don't have to be using their Norwegian data, for example. So that was really, really good. We offer airport pickup as well. So it's from Leeds, Bradford, Manchester. They're definitely the two closest airports. You'll definitely get quite a few regional flights from Norway to Leeds, Bradford as well, which is really, really good. And then it's not too far away at all. And we also offered pickup from Heathrow. Obviously, just factor in the fact that the travel distance between the two there. But it's good to know that we have student ambassadors that will come and meet you at the airports. They'll take care of you, ask you how a nice flight, and then we'll help with your travel from the airport to your, say if you do need quarantine accommodation, and we'll help you over to there as well, or even just your normal accommodation, and we can help with that. We organised some speed friending, so you may have heard of speed dating before, but we tried to put a spin on that this year, and with the likes of these Zoom calls, there are breakout sessions. So we dumped maybe 5 or so international students all together in one room. They didn't know each other beforehand. I was part of the room as well, and it was really nice to hear where people had come from. Some people were isolating in Leeds, some people were starting their program online from their own home country. So it was really, really nice that was a really good way to meet new people, even though we're incredibly distant at the moment. So that was a real good success. We had this Meet a Buddy scheme, so you can shadow a current student if you would like to. We had an international welcome party with our own DJ, which you can see in some of the pictures there. We delivered pizza to the students that were having to quarantine in the student halls, which is really good. And then we had things like an international talent show. We ran events on how to become a student ambassador, so that's where you would help with campus tours around the university, and you can get paid for that as well. So that's kind of it's a really good flexible part-time job opportunity. And we have virtual cafes running every Wednesday as well. So that's just a chance for you to drop by and speak to the international team and other international students. Bring along a cup of tea or a cup of whatever, and you can chat to fellow international students there, and just drop by and just let us know how you're doing. And then just really quickly, I thought I'd just sort of talking about what students can get up to in and around Leeds as well, and whether this is to do with the university or slightly separate from the university. We have dozens of societies. We have over 300 clubs and societies ranging from interest, professional, things like debating. We have sports clubs, religious societies. We have Harry Potter Society where they play Quidditch on the grass. So we have lots of different things all to do with, depending on whichever interest that you do have. And like I was saying before about the support services, that's something that we hear really, really good feedback about. Is everyone's different, and I think the transition going to a different country, a different university, university itself is quite a big step up from high school and your local school or college. So I think some people can be quite shy to begin with, and I know that was the case with, I'm just thinking of one particular student, and she was saying that she really utilised all of these, the mental health and the student wellbeing programs and teams that we have. She arranged an appointment with those guys. Really, she's really come out of her shell, and she helps deliver presentations like this with me in events now. We have money advice service if you're really struggling for money, for example. We have all different types of counselling as well. And like I was saying before, everyone has their own personal tutor or academic advisors as well. And then just lastly, this is my final slide, but I just thought it might be sort of nice to cover, just to kind of reinforce our sort of safety on campus at the moment, especially with things going on. So this is an example of the art studios on the top left there. Obviously, everyone's sort of socially distanced on campus. You can still attend. We're having a bit of a hybrid learning system where some of the classes are online, but then some of them you can go onto campus and study as well. So the students are distanced there. They have to make sure that you wear a face covering and make sure that everyone follows the guidelines. We're keeping everyone up to date with the local sort of restrictions. Everyone has to book a slot to go onto campus and rent a book in the library, and there's certain one-way systems in and around the buildings as well, and you can see more about that on the website there. I just thought, yeah, that sort of summarises everything. And then just to kind of leave it on, I thought I'd include the social media things there, but I'd really recommend going on those, because we have some blogs and some vlogs that are actually written and recorded by our very own students, and that's some of them are like a day in the life of a student from this particular country at Leeds Beckett, and what to do in Leeds at the weekend. You can go hire a boat and go along the river, that kind of thing. So some of those are really good and really good to check out. And if you kind of makes you feel like you're doing a bit of a campus tour even from home back in Norway. So I'd definitely recommend getting in touch with those. Okay, that is it from me.
Thank you. Let's see. So next we have University of Bristol, and we have Emma with us. Let's see. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just tweaking a slide while you were finishing off there. So let me just see if I can share my screen. Just bear with me one moment. So hopefully, so can you see my presentation rather than my note screen?
Yeah, I can see your presentation.
Perfect. That's great. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks very much for coming to this session. So my name's Emma Weeks, and I work as an international market development manager at the University of Bristol. I have responsibility for our recruitment in Europe as well as international students based in the UK. My personal contact detail is there, but we also have some generic email addresses for both undergraduate and prospective postgraduate students as well, if you would need to contact us. I've actually worked at the University of Bristol for nearly 20 years, which is frankly terrifying because it doesn't feel that long. But one of the reasons that I've stayed here as long as I have is simply because Bristol is such a fantastic place to live and to work. It's a brilliant city for students. It's a brilliant city for professionals and families. It offers all the benefits of city life without the expense and crowds of London. And hopefully in the course of this presentation, I'll be able to give you a little bit of a flavour of the city and give you an appreciation of how great it is. So in terms of where we are in the southwest of the UK. We're about 90 minutes west of London by train. I was slightly offended by Aaron's map, which didn't have Bristol on it, but I will forgive him. And Mark can be cross about the fact that Glasgow isn't on mine. But anyway, so you have a sense of where we are. It's the largest city in the southwest of the UK. We have about 600,000 people living in Bristol. It's got really good rail links to other cities in the UK, including Leeds. But we also have our own international airport about 15 kilometres south of Bristol, which fly in normal times, obviously not in normal times, but in normal times you could fly to over 100 European destinations. can't currently fly directly to Norway from Bristol, but you can do so via Amsterdam, and there are regular flights to Amsterdam from Bristol, which is how I normally get to Norway. So it's a really fantastic location in terms of ease of access to beautiful countryside, but also all the major cities in the UK. And this next image, this is a really nice aerial view of the city of Bristol. I have to admit that Trondheim actually reminded me a little bit of Bristol. It's got sort of beautiful waterfront, lots of really interesting architecture, and lots of green space. So in that image there, where my mouse is swirling, that is where the university campus is. It's a short walk into the city centre, which is down here. And yeah, generally very easy to get around. We do have a really nice virtual tour of the city of Bristol and the campus on our website, which I'd recommend you check out. I'll share the link to that in the chat later. But yeah, as you can see, really lovely city. And yeah, one of the reasons I've stayed there as long as I have. Aaron touched on this, but I think it's worth sort of reiterating about the benefits of studying in the UK. Obviously, we have a really long history of offering higher education. Our oldest university dates back to 1096, so that's the University of Oxford, as I'm sure you might know. And we also have 24 research-intensive institutions known as the Russell Group of universities. And as such, the UK higher education has been at the forefront of groundbreaking advances in research across medicine, engineering, computer science, as well as arts and humanities. So it's, you know, and of course our degrees are recognised globally. So just to go back to sort of Bristol for a moment, yeah, as I said, very convenient location. It's a really wonderfully friendly and safe city. And very multicultural. Across the city, more than 90 different languages are spoken. And at the university itself, we have students from around 150 different countries. Our student body comprises around 18,000 undergraduates and 8,000 postgraduate students. And around 30% of our student population is from outside the UK. So what it does is the university offers this wonderful combination of academic excellence with a really wonderful, vibrant student and city experience. And if you come to Bristol, you become part of this amazing global alumni network of over 150,000 people. And we have links in terms of industry, both local and international. So we have students who often have placement years or short-term internships, both in the UK and overseas as well. And worth mentioning that we are cheaper than London. It's around 25 to 30% cheaper to live and study in Bristol than it would be in London. So something else to bear in mind. The next slide is what I contractually agreed to show students because we are quite proud of our rankings. We are consistently ranked in the top 100 universities in the world, in the top 10 in the UK, but also a large number of the subjects that we teach are highly rated in world subjects. So things like earth sciences, veterinary science and social policy rank very highly, and also subjects as varied as philosophy, geography, education, and statistics. So we do very well in terms of our sort of teaching and research rankings. So yes, the research at Bristol is ranked in the top 5 in the UK. You may not know that there's 13 Nobel Prize winners that are linked to the University of Bristol. As undergraduate students, I appreciate some of you may also be postgraduate, but as undergraduate students, it means that you're not only going to be taught by academics who are at the forefront of advanced theories and technologies across a huge range of disciplines, it also means that you have access to some amazing learning facilities and state-of-the-art laboratories because we attract this sort of research investment. So for example, we have things like a virtual reality lab, a smart internet lab, we have a world-class earthquake shaking table, we have really sophisticated online learning tools like our e-chem and bio labs. And in terms of sort of learning facilities, we've got 9 different branch libraries providing access to about 100,000 online journals, as well as obviously hard copy textbooks. And the largest of our 9 libraries is actually the Arts and Social Sciences Library. And around 40% of the teaching programs are actually accredited by professional bodies. So these are what we call industrial or professional advisory boards, who continuously review what we teach, the learning environment and what the learning outcomes are, to ensure that what students, in terms of their sort of learning experience, is going to be directly relevant to the industry that they progress to. And as a result, it means that employability at Bristol is one of our major strengths. So we are the 4th most targeted university by the top 100 employers in the UK. We're ranked 6th in the UK for graduate employability, and we do produce some of the highest paid graduates in the UK. And we have, like nearly every university in the UK will have, a really, really supportive careers service. So in a typical year, we would welcome over 300 employers to the university to take part in numerous events. I mentioned our Alumni Network. A lot of our alumni come back to the university to talk about their successes in their chosen industry and career. And we have particular strengths in law and engineering. We have a professional liaison network focused on social sciences and law, and an inter-liaison office specifically focused on creating opportunities for engineering students. But obviously in Norway, a lot of the popular subjects in Norway tend to be in areas sort of more social science based. But those employability statistics apply across the board, regardless of whether you're an engineer or whether you're a politics and international relations student. There really are a lot of opportunities to engage with professional organisations and gain experience through events and internships and things like that. So the University of Bristol is organised into 6 academic faculties, and we offer around 300 different degree programmes. Are quite traditional in some ways, so things like sort of medicine and law and engineering, as I mentioned, but we also offer programs in politics and international relations, social policy, criminology. We do film and television and theatre. In fact, we were the first UK university to offer drama as an academic degree program. So a huge variety of options for students to consider. And in terms of the types of degrees that you can do, and this is true of all UK universities and not just Bristol, but you can opt to do the 3-year standard bachelor degree, whether that's a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Engineering. There's also the opportunity to do 4-year bachelor degrees, which would involve a professional placement year or a year abroad. We also offer what are called 4-year integrated master's degrees, recognised as such across Europe, but enable you to do quite advanced research-based modules. Then there's the 5-year clinical degrees in medicine, dentistry and veterinary science. And we also in engineering now offer 5-year degrees with a year in industry, which you can apply to during the programme. So quite a variety of options. So whether if you only want to do 3 years in the UK, you can still successfully obtain a bachelor degree. But if you want to get a sort of professional experience as part of that, there are options as well for those. And learning at university, Aaron talked about that transition that you make from school to university, which can be really challenging. But we do offer great support and utilise a variety of teaching methods. Again, this will be true not just of Bristol, but all other universities in the UK. Will be a combination of face-to-face and e-learning, large lectures, lab work, sort of guided reading sessions, and students will all be assigned personal academic tutors to offer sort of direct academic support throughout your time at university. And of course, as I said, study and industry options will be available to you at a number of different institutions. I talked about Bristol a lot. I could talk about it forever, but I'm aware that time is marching on. So just to quickly talk about Bristol, in terms of how vibrant it is. It hosts more festivals than any other city in Europe. I think that's one of the things people don't realise about it. It was the first UK city to be European Green Capital. And as I said, it's a major cultural hub with art galleries, theatres and museums and concert venues. So there really is, for a city of its size, there's an extraordinary range of opportunities and things to do. Universities in the UK offer a range of support services to their students, and obviously these are going to be organised differently at each institution, but all are going to have academic, pastoral, health, funding and accommodation advice and support, and counselling services and so forth. So all of that sort of there for you to access as required, and to ensure that you have a successful and safe and enjoyable time at university, and to help you get settled in. Again, most UK universities will offer students some form of accommodation. Usually it's guaranteed for first year undergraduates, and in some cases for international postgraduate students as well. Some of this will be on a campus, or in the case of Bristol, which is a city university, we have 3 residential villages which are within a 3-kilometre radius of the central campus. And that varies from small student houses to large residences with over 700 rooms. So there's lots of different options, but certainly every university will have accommodation provided. Of course, university is not just about study, it's an opportunity to pursue other passion projects and interests, whether that's music, sports, social justice campaigning, or maybe helping edit a successful student newspaper. While you're studying with us at Bristol, every Wednesday afternoon is free of lectures and seminars to enable you to participate fully in all your extracurricular activities. The Student Union of Bristol is one of the most active in the UK, supporting an extraordinary range of student clubs and societies, which includes over 150 sports clubs. That's everything from judo to horse riding to sailing, basketball. So whether you're a budding Olympic medalist or just keen to keep fit and have fun, we have the support and facilities to help you. And like Aaron mentioned in his talk, there's all sorts of sort of induction activities and welcome events that we run at the beginning of the academic year to help you make friends and settle in. And we also have something called the Global Lounge, which runs sort of cultural events all year round, whether that's a Diwali festival celebrations for our Indian students, or Chinese New Year. There's lots of opportunities to engage in sort of cultural and religious festivals all year round. And it's a really important part of the student experience, is to do something perhaps that you've never done before and sort of meet and make friends with students from over 100 different countries. And there are also opportunities to get other international experiences, and not just necessarily doing a study abroad year. At Bristol, there's opportunities to do, for example, we offer an 8-week internship in Shenzhen in China. We also run an international leadership program, which in previous years was 4 days in Chicago or Delhi, exploring local issues and global challenges. And we also run summer schools everywhere from Australia to Mexico. So you could either do a full study abroad year, we partner with over 150 universities globally, or you could spend a few weeks in your summer doing a project in China or Mexico or the US. So lots and lots of other opportunities to experience other cultures. And also we do have our own scholarships. So these, for undergraduate students, we have awards of £5,000 and £10,000, which can be used towards the cost of tuition fees. These aren't based on academic merit, but based on special attributes or accomplishments that demonstrate a contribution towards community or ambitions that will show how you can make an exceptional ambassador for us. There is a link there to our undergraduate scholarships. I don't have a slide on our tuition fees, but typically tuition fees for our undergraduate programs would be between £19,000 and £24,000 a year. For postgraduate programs, between £18,000 and £28,000. And the cost of living in Bristol, you're looking at around £1,000 a month. So finally, these are just our social media links. Postgraduate email address there, but we do have the undergraduate one as well, and our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter feeds. So hopefully you'll keep in touch. And yes, I think we're holding questions for the end, so I'll finish there. Apologies if I overran a bit, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma. I started speaking and not unmute myself, of course. So next is University of Glasgow, and we have Mark with us today. So whenever you're ready, yeah.
Thank you very much. Can I just check, can everyone see my slides okay?
Yeah.
Perfect, fantastic. So thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening, and thanks to Emma and Aaron for some really interesting presentations. So my name is Mark Stansfield. I'm a Senior International Officer here at the University of Glasgow. And my remit covers all across Europe and into Central Asia as well. So I will try not to overlap too much with what Aaron and Emma have covered already. So I'll try to keep this as brief as I can. I wanted to kick off my little part of this tonight, just talking a little bit specifically about Scotland and higher education in Scotland. There are some nuances and some differences between the degree systems and things in Scotland and there is in other parts of the UK. And then I'll go on to give a little bit more information about the University of Glasgow itself. So to kick things off there, I did note that Glasgow was missing from both Emma and Aaron's maps, but I've made up for it by having my very own Scotland map in this one. So a little bit of a whistle-stop tour there, giving you a flavour of the large number of universities that we have in Scotland. Obviously a cluster around about both Glasgow and Edinburgh, the two largest cities, but also a number of other institutions all around the country. So I wanted to kick off by thinking, why might you consider studying in Scotland? So the first was to say that we have a really long tradition of higher education in Scotland. So I know Emma mentioned Oxford and Cambridge being two of the ancient institutions in England. We have four ancient institutions in Scotland. So we have the University of Glasgow that I'm from, St Andrews, Edinburgh, and also Aberdeen as well. So we've been in the higher education business since the 15th century. So we like to think that we kind of have a bit of experience and that we know what we're doing. We have some world-leading universities, and I think considering the size of Scotland, we have a total population of about 5.5 million. We're really proud that we kind of punch above our weight on the international stage in terms of the number of really highly ranked institutions that we have. We have 3 in the world's top 100 QS world rankings at the moment. So despite our size and population, it's something that we're proud of. We have quite high levels of student satisfaction in Scotland as well. So the 2020 National Student Survey, which students all across the UK complete, students studying at Scottish universities were the most satisfied in the UK, according to that. And also 9 out of 10 students studying in Scotland said that they were really happy with the quality of the course that they were studying at a Scottish institution. We have a really broad range of courses available in Scotland as well. So between all of the institutions that I showed in my first slide, we offer around 4,500 courses across about 150 different subject areas. So there really is something for everyone in Scotland. We all have global partnerships, and I'll touch upon that in a little bit, and also opportunities to study abroad, as Emma had mentioned there at the end, a chance for a double international experience of studying in the UK, but then also perhaps spending a semester or a year at an overseas partner in the US or Canada or somewhere else in Europe. Excellent support and welfare that my two colleagues have touched upon already, but that also exists in Scottish institutions as well, and good transport links. So there's a direct flight from Oslo to Edinburgh. And then from Edinburgh Airport to Glasgow, you would be about 1 hour on a direct bus. But also, as Emma said, kind of flights via Amsterdam and London could get you to other parts of Norway as well. So a real broad mix of institutions in Scotland, from the ancients that I mentioned to more traditional and more modern universities. So a real mix. A real diverse group of international students as well. So there are over 50,000 students from outside of the UK studying in Scotland. So you're guaranteed a really international experience wherever you end up studying, and also high levels of graduate employability. So, again, graduates from Scottish institutions have a really good record at this in terms of securing professional level jobs. And we also have our qualifications are recognised all over the world, and our graduates are found working all over the globe as well. So a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of Scotland there. I'm now going to just spend a couple of slides talking a little bit more specifically about Glasgow. So we were founded in 1451, so we are the 4th oldest institution in the English-speaking world. As my colleagues had mentioned, at Glasgow we have a number of clubs and societies as well, over 250 at Glasgow. And Glasgow is a UNESCO City of Music as well. Now, obviously, during these challenging COVID times, this isn't happening at the moment, but normally there would be over 130 live music gigs and concerts taking place in Glasgow every week. So if you're interested in music, a real vibrant city for that sort of thing. I'll touch upon this in a later slide, but just to highlight that a bachelor's degree in Scotland is normally 4 years in length, as opposed to 3, as you've heard about from my colleagues at institutions in England. I'll talk a little bit about what that means a little bit later, but it kind of reflects kind of flexibility and allowing you to study a broad range of subjects in the early stages and then specialising once you know what you want to specialise in. So if you're not 100% set on what you want to do, then the flexibility of the Scottish 4-year system is a real advantage to think about. And really high levels of employment and students in further study or employment, just under 96% within a year of graduating. I'm also contractually obliged to do a quick slide on rankings as well. So the University of Glasgow is also ranked in the world's top 100 universities according to the Times Higher Education rankings and QS World Rankings, which has placed us 77th in the world this year. Like Bristol, we are a Russell Group university, so also a research-intensive university, and obviously Emma kind of explained what that means in terms of you being taught by world-leading experts in those areas and those academic disciplines. And this year we were ranked 2nd in the Russell Group for student satisfaction. So again, something we're really proud of, that the feedback we get from our students is they have a positive experience at Glasgow. This year we are touching 30,000 students from over 140 different countries. So again, a very, very international experience awaits you in Glasgow. And as you saw from that earlier slide, there are a number of other universities in Glasgow as well, meaning that it's a real vibrant student city with lots of young people from all over the world coming to study and enjoy themselves as well. Obviously, we've been around for a while at Glasgow, so we do also have some notable alumni that have kind of passed through our doors over the years. So a couple just to pull out, Adam Smith, for example, the kind of forefather of modern economic thinking, was a graduate and a student at the university, and a professor at the University of Glasgow. James Watt, pioneering the Industrial Revolution. John Logie Baird, who invented the television, as a graduate of Glasgow. More recently, the first ultrasound of a fetus, of an unborn baby back in the 50s, was developed at the University of Glasgow. Joseph Lister, developed using antiseptic in surgery at the University of Glasgow as well. And more recently, Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, who some of you might be familiar of, is a law graduate from Glasgow as well. So yeah, a real history of kind of changing the world, and 7 Nobel Prize winners linked to the university as well. So you're following in kind of good footsteps if you do choose Glasgow. In terms of our relationship with Norway, that goes back a long way. Obviously, Scotland and Norway, there are a lot of very close cultural ties between both countries, very close geographically as well. We have approximately 45 students from Norway currently studying with us at Glasgow across a broad range of subjects. We also have partnerships with a number of Norwegian institutions, so NTNU in Trondheim, UiT, the University of Bergen, and the University of Oslo are all valued partners of the University of Glasgow. We have a Nordic Student Society, so a very active society that organise social events, celebrate, Constitution Day and various sort of Scandinavian celebrations and things. So a real active group of students and a nice community waiting for you in Glasgow. And also a really active alumni network as well. We've been welcoming Norwegian students for a long time to Glasgow. So lots of events taking place back in Norway, chances to network and meet with former students. So I've kind of touched on Scotland already, so I won't spend too much time on this. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm a biased source. I imagine some of the Norwegians in tonight's webinar might argue that perhaps Norway is the most beautiful country in the world. Well, it's not me saying it, it's Rough Guides that last year voted Scotland the world's most beautiful country. So sorry, don't blame me if you disagree. The background slide there is Ben Ann, which is a hill about 40 minutes outside of Glasgow. Really nice if you get a clear sunny day like that, which we do get sometimes in Scotland. Wonderful views across and lots to do in terms of outdoor activity, mountain climbing, winter sports, like in Norway, are all very popular here in Scotland as well. Glasgow is famed for its culture, so obviously Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland. Glasgow is the biggest city by population. So Edinburgh has the Fringe, an international festival every August, which is the largest arts and culture festival in the world. But Glasgow, really well known for its museums, all of which are free to enter. The music scene that I mentioned already, comedy festivals, arts and literature festivals taking place all year round. So much to get involved in as a student. And also some fantastic architecture, castles, the ancient side of Scotland that people often associate as well, all very close to Glasgow and easy to explore. So in terms of Glasgow, again, Time Out magazine ranked Glasgow in the top 10 best cities in the world last year, and it was also named the world's friendliest city. And that's something that, as Aaron touched upon in England as well, the feedback that we always get from students is that they feel very welcome in Glasgow and in Scotland, and find people very friendly and welcoming. We are a very green city, which again surprises people. As a kind of former industrial shipbuilding city, Glasgow has over 90 parks and green spaces. Very close to the university campus is Kelvin Grove Park, which is a wonderful green space that, again, on a sunny day, students will go and take their books and go and enjoy, some greenery close to the university campus. And the lit up image in the background of the slide there is the Hydro, which is the second busiest venue in the world, apparently behind Madison Square Garden, which is an interesting fact. So the university is based in the west end of the city. That image in the background of the slide is Ashton Lane, which is a nice little cobbled street filled with bars and cafes, which is just round the corner from the university campus. So you have Kelvin Grove Art Gallery, the park that I mentioned, the Botanic Gardens. So much to do, vintage shops, a real nice, vibrant community in the West End where the University of Glasgow campus is based. I'm not going to dwell on this one because, again, I also feel my colleagues have kind of covered this, but just to reiterate that student support is really heavily available at Glasgow also. So we have a dedicated accommodation team and guarantee accommodation for students coming to study at Glasgow. We also have a dedicated international student support team, a dedicated disability service, a career service, and a student counselling service as well. So as the others have said, lots of support available if you need it. We have not one but two student unions at Glasgow. We have a student representative council that organise all of the kind of events that both Emma and Aaron talked about, and some fantastic sports facilities and clubs and societies as well to get involved in. So as the others have said, plenty going on in terms of student life. So this is a bit of an aerial shot of the main building and the main campus at Gilmore Hill in the west end of the city. So as you can see, the park that I touched upon is just at the bottom of the shot there. So the main building was designed by Sir George Gilbert Scott and is a real landmark of the Glasgow skyline. Wherever you are in the city, you can normally see the famous tower of the university. We have a 13-floor library with over 2 million books and special collections, including some original Shakespeare manuscripts. And the Fraser Building, just to highlight, is where kind of all of the support services that I touched upon are based. So being one of the large ancient institutions, we also have a very broad range of subjects that we offer at Glasgow. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. You can see from the slide the main areas that we cover. But again, a lot more information on our website, but a very, very broad range of subjects available at Glasgow, and lots of combinations available as well, where you can take joint honours degrees where you're studying a couple of different subjects together, which again might be of interest to some students. One thing just to mention is that I've kind of spoken about the 4-year undergraduate degree system so far, just to highlight that at master's level, we're in line with England and the rest of the UK, and that we would study for generally 12 months at postgraduate master's level. So it's only really at undergraduate level bachelor's that you will find some differences in Scotland compared to other parts of the UK. So just to try and kind of explain what that means. So this is an example of a single honours degree path. So this student applied for physics at Glasgow. You study 2 other subjects in your first year. So this student has decided to study chemistry and astronomy in year 1. At the end of year 2, normally you would continue with 2 subjects. So this student has decided that astronomy isn't for them, and they're focusing on physics and chemistry. At the end of year 2, you then decide what you want to graduate in. So this student has decided just physics. And at the end of year 4, will graduate with a BSc single honours degree in physics. A joint honours degree path within our kind of more social science related programs, our MA Social Sciences. So this student has applied for business and Spanish, for example. In year 1, the student picks up history. at the end of year one, again, for whatever reason, maybe doesn't like history, decided to pick up music instead. And then in year three, would spend a year abroad if doing Spanish, so Latin America or Spain, Spanish-speaking country. And then in year four, would graduate with a business management and Spanish degree. So just to highlight that flexibility that I touched upon earlier, that you can try and test out different subjects and then specialise once you know what you want to specialise in. So I would say that's one of the benefits of the Scottish system. And you know, I think is feedback that we get from employers is that we are producing graduates that are really well-rounded and that often have a background in more than just one discipline, which is often seen as being pretty advantageous. We have a number of scholarships. So at undergraduate level, we offer undergraduate excellence scholarships, which would be £5,000 per year of study. These are awarded on academic merit, so depending on your grades from your school qualifications. There is no separate application. You will be assessed automatically when you apply to Glasgow, and you would normally receive a notification of being awarded one of these scholarships within 2 weeks of receiving your offer to study. At postgraduate level, we have a number of £10,000 scholarships. We have some subject-specific ones, some that are only open to particular subjects. And also just to highlight that the Lånekassen supplementary grant is available at both undergraduate and postgraduate level at Glasgow as well. So again, colleagues at SONOR will be happy to give you a little bit more information about exactly what that means, but just to highlight that some additional support is available on that front as well. And I guess quickly on living costs. So again, like in Bristol and like in Leeds, the living cost in Glasgow is certainly a lot more affordable than London, I know is the example that's been given. Certainly in Scotland, I would say Glasgow is more affordable than Edinburgh to live as well. So What University 2019 put Glasgow as the 4th most affordable student city in the UK. We're also the 4th biggest city in the UK behind London, Birmingham and Manchester. So quite interesting that despite being quite a large city with a population of about 550,000, we are a pretty affordable city to live in as well. So this is a very, very rough guide in terms of what you might be expecting to spend monthly. Your biggest outgoings will be accommodation. I think this is generous. You could live for a lot less than that. It's safe to say. I certainly wouldn't be spending £70 a month on clothes if I was a student, but maybe that's just me. In terms of tuition fees, like Emma, I'm conscious that I missed out a slide confirming what they are. At undergraduate level, you're looking at between about 18 to 23,000 for most programs. Our clinical programs like medicine, dentistry and veterinary medicine are more expensive than that, again approaching almost £40,000 per year. And at postgraduate level, you're looking at between about 16 to 28,000 pounds, again depending on the program. So but funding available, so some scholarships available, or certainly funding via the government funding from Norway as well, that would be worth taking a look at. But more information about all of that is available on our website. So a bit of a whistle-stop tour there. Thank you very much for your attention and for hanging around to listen to me. I've left my email address up there, as the others have said. We're also very active on social media, so please check out all the usual socials to get a nice flavour of what it's like to be a Glasgow student, particularly during these times where perhaps the academic year isn't looking quite as it normally would, as Aaron and Emma have both talked about. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll pass back, and I think we're going to take some questions now. So thanks. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. That was great. We did get a few questions while you guys were speaking, so let me just go through them. So maybe we can just start with a question for you, Mark. So someone asked why Scotland has a 4-year bachelor's degree, and if it's like the US. Yeah, you can interpret that how you want to.
Thanks, Camilla. Yeah, well, actually, the system in the US was originally derived from the Scottish system, so it was kind of adopted and adapted. So yeah, I mean, it's always been 4 years in Scotland. It's just kind of how it's been. That's what I studied, and I kind of benefited from that flexibility that I talked about earlier in terms of being able to change. I ended up kind of changing route once I'd started studying because I picked up a discipline that I hadn't studied at school, and ended up really enjoying it. So yeah, I mean, I think so yeah, the major and minor subjects in the US is kind of loosely linked to the Scottish system, and that's kind of where that was derived from. One thing just to say that I should have mentioned during my presentation, that this has reminded me that to go against everything I've said, we do also offer for some students an advanced entry route, meaning that if you perform particularly well at school and you've studied appropriate subjects, there is sometimes the opportunity to come straight into year 2 in Scotland, which would bring us more in line with our friends south of the border. So there is that opportunity, not for all subjects, but that would bring us more in line with England. But you will lose some of that flexibility. So not being able to, as I sort of, kind of tried to explain in that slide, that being able to try and test things and change, you lose a little bit of that if you skip year 1. But also aware that for some students, they wonder, well, why would I study for 4 years if I could go somewhere else and study 3 years? So we like to think it's worth it, and the flexibility gives you that opportunity, but also understand that, it isn't necessarily for everyone, and, and that's just form part of the research that you'll all be doing at the moment when you're thinking about where you're applying to and what's important to you and your destinations overseas.
Yeah, thank you. And then someone asked when you were speaking, Aaron, if it's hard to get into to the university if they're non-IB student. So, I mean, yeah, you can answer that, but you welcome students who've gone to just normal Norwegian upper secondary school, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't I would disagree with that. You don't have to have studied IB at all to be able to study here in the UK, and you're shaking your head, Camilla. I think no, that's I definitely wouldn't say that that kind of puts you at a disadvantage in any way. In fact, we would take a look at your Norwegian high school grades, so the Vitnemål, and we look for a grade 4 or above overall, and we look for a grade 4 in your English as well. So those are the 2 entry requirements that we would just look at basically. And then on top of that, I think Camilla mentioned it before, it was in Norwegian, so I didn't quite get it, but I think it was talking about the personal statement and things like that as well. So it is, but from the academic side, we would take a look at any sort of qualifications that you do have anyway, if they are IB, if they're not IB, and then we can go from there. So that's kind of what the international team is there for, as well as to help sort of translate your grades over your qualifications over, and we can have a look.
Yeah, and we will help them with the translation as well. So someone's asking if any of you offer physiotherapy? No?
Yes.
You do?
I was waiting for anyone else to. Yeah, we do. We offer both bachelor's and master's programs in physiotherapy. I would say I'd add that with a caveat. I think it's probably one of our most competitive courses and one of our most popular ones that the students do apply for. Would say, and that obviously Norwegian students would stand as much chance as anyone else in getting a place on the program. I think they just have quite small cohorts because of it's to do with the amount of placement hours. Yeah. So it's just to do with the agreements the university has with the local hospitals and the centres and stuff like that as well. They just have a certain amount of placements that they are allowed to offer. So there's not a cap as such, but there's kind of like an ideal number of students on the cohort per year, and we get a lot more applications than that particular number. But I would say so the bachelor's program is 3 years, but the master's program is 2 years, and that's just because again it's down to those placement hours. I think you have to achieve over 1,000 hours worth of placement to be able to be a fully accredited physiotherapist. And if anyone wanted to know a little bit more about that in more detail, I can definitely talk with them about that. But I would with that sort of course in particular as well, I would say we would invite you for an interview with the course directors, and then they would like to know a little bit more about your experience in that field. So if you have got experience, if you've shadowed a physiotherapist in the past, then that's really beneficial. And I would also say definitely to research the NHS, our healthcare system here in the UK. quite a lot, because obviously as part of the placement opportunity, you'll be kind of an employee on behalf of the NHS. So what they will ask you in the interviews, and that's sometimes people's downfall, is they don't do enough research into the NHS values and do a bit more research around that. So that's probably my top tip if you are thinking of applying to physiotherapy.
Good. Let's see. So maybe you want to answer this one, Emma. If I cannot get a letter of reference from a teacher, can I get it from my job?
For undergraduate applications, it would need to be a reference from a school or some kind of sort of academic supervisor. It really needs to be someone who can comment on a student's academic ability. It doesn't necessarily have to be from one individual. I know that some schools, for example, will compile comments from different teachers. You know, might have up to 4 different sort of sections of the reference commenting on the academic ability of the student in maths, in physics and chemistry and so forth. But it would need to be academic related if you're talking specifically about undergraduate applications.
Yeah, I assume it's undergraduate, but it didn't say. But yeah. Let's see. And then someone asked if it's possible to visit the campus before they start. Not sure if they mean in general or if they're thinking about the whole COVID-19 situation, but it's usually possible to visit. And you guys can show them around on campus.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, I'm sure this is true. You know, once we're back to sort of semi-normality, you know, most universities will host what they call open days or visit days. Where students can come and have a look, prospective students can come and have a look around the campus and go to sort of presentations by academics, talk to current students and things like that. But typically they can visit any time of year. If they contact the university in advance, for example, we in the past have organised bespoke tours for individual visitors who haven't been able to attend an open day. And we also have an online, a sort of self-guided tour that students can download to their phones if there isn't anyone around to show them. We've got a downloadable self-guided tour that they can do. But obviously that's all pending some kind of normal access to the UK.
Yeah,
and just
everything's...
Oh, sorry, Camilla, I was just going to add to what Emma had said. So, you know, I think it's absolutely the same at Glasgow. Not quite the same experience, but I would just like to highlight probably that I think we're all doing lots of virtual open days and virtual opportunities to have a look around campus. Not the same as obviously coming in person to explore, but I think just to highlight to everyone on the webinar tonight that I think we're all, you know, doing sessions and virtual events and virtual tours. So, you know, as I say, probably doesn't replace the real thing, but still lots of opportunities to be finding out more about campus life, about subjects and things. So I would probably just say keep an eye on each of our websites to find out about plans for future sessions and online open days and things that might be useful to attend as well.
And I am going to take the opportunity, if it's okay, I'll just post in the chat a link to our virtual tour of the university and the city, which hopefully gives a little bit of a sense of what it's like there, sort of using Google Street technology, so you can kind of drop in and have a look around. I'm pretty sure that most universities offer that, but I'll just drop that into the chat now for anyone who's interested.
And then someone asked if it's hard to get a part-time job in Bristol.
Well, funnily enough, although obviously at the moment it is harder because so much is closed, the kind of the typical casual jobs that students do, restaurants and bars and so forth, aren't available. But we do, you know, we are employed because of the number of virtual events we're having to do in COVID times. These virtual events, we require a lot of support from student ambassadors to run sort of meet and engage sessions, virtual chat sessions, to sit in on webinars and talk about their experience of studying at Bristol. So actually that's one way of earning money as a student, is to sort of work with us as a student ambassador. But again, in normal times, there's a huge amount of work usually available. Not all of it's necessarily sort of restaurant and bar work. You know, a lot of our students will do sort of short-term paid placements doing work that's actually quite closely related to their degree programme. There's all sorts of opportunities. The Careers Service will advertise jobs. Our Student Union has its own job shop. So yeah, there's definitely opportunities, but obviously taking, you know, with the caveat that at the moment it's not quite normal.
And then someone asked if any of you offer international law. They wrote this question in English, so I'm not sure if this is someone who's Norwegian or not, but they should just know that if they study law abroad, they might not use the degree back in Norway. But yeah.
So our LLB program entitles students to practice law in what are known as common law countries. So that does include places like Singapore and Hong Kong and so forth. But we do have students from all over Europe coming to do our LLB programs. Worth mentioning that we also do Llm programs, so 1-year postgraduate law degrees, which does include things like international law, international commercial law and international relations. So that there's a lot of options available. The School of Law is one of our largest schools at the University of Bristol.
And similarly at Glasgow, one distinction just to mention, again, sorry to be the awkward Scottish person, but just to highlight that we offer 2 types of law at undergraduate level at Glasgow. So we offer Scots law and common law. Like Emma mentioned. So we have a different legal system in Scotland. So if you are an undergraduate student thinking about law, it's just to be aware that there is the Scots law, which is more aimed if you want to be a lawyer in Scotland, but common law offers options in those other jurisdictions in other parts of the UK, as Emma mentioned. But yeah, at master's level, a lot more international law flavoured programs, but at the undergraduate level, it would be common law or Scots law at Glasgow as well.
I would just add to that, if I may, just to say that our bachelor's programs, again, exactly the same. Well, it's more to Bristol than Glasgow, but with the master's programs, we actually only have distance learning master's law programs, so that's the only difference with us.
Yeah, and there's one more question for you, Mark. What will the tuition fee in Scotland be after Brexit?
Good question. Yeah, so to give some background to that, so previously there was a distinction between EU fees and Scots and EU fees, so home student fees, rest of UK fees and international fees. As a result of the UK's decision to leave the European Union, those fee statuses will be changing slightly. So as of the forthcoming academic year, students from anywhere in Europe will be paying the full international fee. So previously, depending on where you were applying from and your links to Europe and the EU, particularly for Norwegian students, there were some differences in fee status. That's changing. Also, just to highlight as well, I guess for any students who will be arriving as of next year, is just to also highlight that there will be some changes to visa processes in terms of if you don't have any settled status or links to the UK, then you probably will be required to get a visa going forward as of the 1st of January 2021, which obviously didn't apply previously to Norwegian students. But obviously I know that that's something that SONOR will be able to help you with, and each of ourselves or our teams at each of the universities will be happy to help with that. But the short answer to the long ramble I've given is that going forward, as a result of Brexit and the UK's departure from the EU, is that international fees will now be applicable to any European student applying to study in Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah, we do get a few questions about the tuition fee and the visa situation, but yeah, we'll help them through it. So I think that's all the questions. Someone asked, does anyone offer sports management?
I think that's one.
Do you have that? Yeah, you have that Leeds Beckett, right?
Yeah. We have. So if they're interested in, so there's kind of 2 routes. So there's sports business management, which sits with the business school, so that could be one worth exploring. But then if they want the sports side of things more, then we actually have a school of sport as well. So the full list, we can always send them afterwards, or if you just go onto the website, so the Leeds Beckett website, and go on the course search there, then you'll definitely be able to find them, and it has the breakdown of all of the classes and the module list and everything like that as well. And if you were interested, that could put you in touch with some of the professors on the course, and they can talk to you a little bit more about the program as well, and explain the differences between them all.
Okay, I'm just double checking, but I think we got through all the questions. There were a few that I answered just directly to the students. Some asked about foundation year, but it's not supported by Lånekassen, so it's not really a great option for Norwegian students.
Is it worth mentioning, just as a sort of addition to the question about visas, obviously all that sort of change might be perceived as a negative, but one of the changes that is being implemented next year is that students coming through on what will be the study route visa will be entitled to stay on in the UK after they complete their degree to seek work, I think for up to 2 years. I think the precise details haven't yet been announced, but there is information on the gov.uk website about that new visa route. So yeah, prospects for sort of staying on and looking for work will be there that weren't before.
Yeah, that's good. And I also think that I mean, we work with mostly English-speaking countries, and you need a visa to study in the US, you need a visa to study in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. So for our students, I think they would be prepared to go through that process. And then, okay, one last question here. Do the students usually live on campus? So I'm guessing they think like up on university accommodation on campus. If yeah, do you want to take that one, Emma?
I'll kick off, and then Aaron and Mark can chip in as required. As I said, so Bristol is a city campus. So the academic facilities, so the libraries, the lecture halls, student refectory, laboratories, they're all clustered really close together right in the heart of the city. So accommodation is actually separate to that campus, but it's all within 3 kilometre radius of the university. So we manage 28 different residences around the city of Bristol, and as I said in my presentation, some of them are really small student houses and some of them huge catered halls with like 750 bedrooms, but in terms of the guarantees, so for all new first year undergraduate students, a room is guaranteed in one of those residences, and we also guarantee accommodation to all international postgraduate students. The guarantee is applied as long as students have submitted an application by the deadline, which is usually in May or June of the year they're due to start their studies.
Yep, very, very similar situation at Glasgow to what Emma's explained. So we have a number of residences that are all within kind of walking distance of the campus. We have one catered residence, but the vast majority of them are kind of self-catered and different types of rooms. So some ensuite rooms where students would have their own bathroom and shower facilities, and some other residences where those facilities are shared. You will always have your own room, so no dormitories, but a kind of sliding scale of cost depending on what you're looking for, but all within walking distance or cycling distance of campus. Guaranteed, again, as Emma said, for international students at Glasgow as well, provided you've applied by the deadline, which is normally August each year, but also lots of private residence options in the city as well. So most students would choose to live in university accommodation for first year at least, and then might look to perhaps rent a private apartment with friends or something after that. But yeah, lots of options within the city, and our accommodation team can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with Mark's last point there. I think I would recommend first year definitely stay on campus if you can, and there are plenty of opportunities to be able to do that. I think there's we have up to 10 different ones, and you can choose how close to campus you want to be. I think just that helps if you're not familiar with the area as much, and obviously if you don't know that many people over here in the UK and in that particular city, I think that just helps kind of relieve sort of one minor stress about things, because then all of the utility bills and the Wi-Fi are all organised for you. So it's definitely a lot easier to do that in first year. First year, you probably make a lot of friends, and then year 2 and year 3, you'll probably go and live in private, private areas, and there are small pockets of sort of big sort of student populations within the cities. So you'll sort of get to know what the best area is to live privately, and I'd definitely say first year just to get used to it, to stay on campus.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. So thank you so much for answering all the questions and your presentations. I'll follow up with the students, and I can include your information as well, so they can contact you directly. And if anyone listening has got any more questions or didn't understand everything that was said, then just contact me and we'll help you. So I think we'll just say good night. Do you have anything you want to add?
Just to say thank you to everyone for attending. It's yeah, it was nice to see so many of you here, and thanks very much to SONOR for setting this up. It's been really great.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for attending, and thanks to Camilla and the team for organising, and thanks to Aaron and Emma as well. I found your presentations really interesting. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks guys.
So yeah,
good team effort.
nice to see so many people, even though it's in a strange sort of situation. But no, thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.